What is up, Twitch world? Let me finish putting up my shares so I can hopefully get some people to show up. Okay. Take a quick look at the Kickstarter campaign. We broke the goal. See that here? Goal of 3,500. We are past that. And this because I don't want to show anybody's names by mistake. So let me move that over here. I did just get a new pledge, so that's good. I like to I like to message everybody that pledges. Let them know that I appreciate and that I'm reachable. I think that's good form. Not every campaign does that. It's not a requirement. Uh, I think for me, it's a great option because it will. At the end of the day, I'm not just selling a comic book. I'm selling myself. And I want people to know that I can be reached. So I didn't mean to drag that over. I was meant to minimize that. My bad. Uh, but yeah, so I see somebody jumped on the chat. Hello. If you wanted to say hello, I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. I am working on my comic book, Savage Sasquanaut. Issue 3 is currently on Kickstarter. That's what you just saw me messaging and doing. I am currently working on coloring pages from issue 4. Uh, So I've got about half the page done, but with this particular panel, I'm I'm gonna scrap everything I did. I'm gonna redo it. I like to do an initial light source on all this, so you'll see I have a primary and a secondary. Uh, but script wise, and what's happening here is this character, this woman, she's an alien entity and she's transforming, she's changing her shape. So that's all these smoke and sparkles, and she ends up looking like this character. Uh, so my initial pass, I really didn't think about that. I was just kind of motoring through as fast as I could. So I don't think the lighting works because I'm going to have kind of a bright light shining around her and everything like that. So I need her to be more backlit, and that just works against everything I've already did in this panel. So I can leave most of my primary lighting here, I think, at least a good chunk of it for this forest throne. Uh, but yeah, I'll have to redo this character completely from scratch. And that's okay. I figured once I realized that as I was starting today, I figured maybe this would be a good instance to stream. You can see this is a previous page sitting next to it. Currently, the page on the right is what I'm working on right here. That's page 9. This is page 8. I have all the effects and line art turned off just so I can see and access the colors because I'm referencing page 8 for my work here on page 9. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate the throne as a layer. That's Control J, or if you're on Mac, it's Command J. I use a PC. I'm using Photoshop CS6. Uh, as far as I know, that would be the exact same command in the later versions, the Creative Cloud and whatnot. It may not be. I don't know. Not having Creative Cloud and not working in it, I don't know. But most of the time, Adobe is pretty good about maintaining their shortcuts. They do change. They do change when they start changing interface stuff. So that could potentially have changed. I don't know, but usually they stay the same. And even if it has changed, what's what they did introduce later within the CS series is you can actually program your own shortcuts. So when they started making changes with shortcuts that I always used in previous versions, and I mean, it's basically muscle memory. It's not even something I think about like, oh, let me go find this thing. I just my keyboard is set. I use the same keyboard. My hands just know where to go. I don't really think about it. So when they change a shortcut, that can be a little troublesome for me. But they have made it where you can go and program the shortcuts how you want it. So any of those changes where, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Any of those changes where I they might make that I can't quickly adjust to, I will go back and revert it to what I am familiar with. And that's the cool thing. And that's just what I do that with what I'm familiar with. I mean, if you're starting off with Photoshop or any of the Adobe products, I mean, creating your own workflow, creating something that works for you, I mean, you can completely customize to what works for you. Uh, and that's awesome. I try to stay as close to default with just the basics, like keyboard shortcuts and commands and shortcuts for tools. I try to keep that as default as I can personally, just because if in the very, very, very rare instance that I have to work on a different machine other than my own, which does happen. It's not very often, but it does happen. More often than not, they're going to have the base standard default settings done. I mean, so if I completely customize my setup to whatever works for me, I mean that's great for me, but it could potentially cripple me when it comes to working on anything else anywhere else in the very, very rare occurrences that happens. So that's just my personal thought and think so and approach to that stuff. You know, do you? Hey babe, I'm streaming. You okay? How's your ankle? I'm sorry.
It's okay. You want anything? Okay.
No, well, I'm good on water. I'll have enough to last till lunch at least.
I got some meatless chicken. Please.
Okay, okay. The joys of trying to be healthy. We're trying to find what works for me because for for over 2 years now it's been diet and exercise, and it's not it is wielding results, but it's not at a level it's not producing results at a level that's good for my health. I mean, I need to lose more weight. I'm trying to avoid specific health concerns. I don't have them yet, but they're coming if I don't even already have them. So I'm trying to do that, and we've gone so far as we will do what I call part-time veganism, and that's essentially 2 days a week, typically Monday and Tuesdays. We have a full vegan diet. I love meat. I'm a carnivorous individual. But fortunately, my wife is an incredible cook and has made being vegan bearable. And there's some downright delicious meals that I truly, truly love, and I would have them even if I wasn't trying to lose weight because they're really good. But and that's been okay. That's worked to a point. Uh, and by and large, our diet is really quite healthy. We have a few splurges here and there, but it's nothing regular. It's nothing I would call regular because it's not. But it's still not quite fast enough. And having a 1 year old always on the go, that keeps you on your toes, but it also presents other challenges when it comes to maintaining a consistent workout routine. And I was very consistent with a program for a very long time and actually really, really liked. Again, it didn't provide super fast weight loss results, which that's supposed to be the good thing. Not losing a bunch of weight fast is what is the healthy way. But in 2 years, I've probably averaged about a pound a month. So I mean, I haven't lost nearly as much as I want and or need to. So we're trying to look at ways to push further, uh, and trying to get back into some stuff that has fallen off a little bit. Like I will admit, going vegan, I didn't completely give up, but I did lose a bit more of my consistency in working out and or exercising and or walking. I haven't done it nearly as much because honestly, switching to the vegan diet for 2 days a week and maintaining a few elements of that throughout the week has been working pretty well. Pretty well, it has. But I still need to do more. I need to level up. So it's trying to find a way to manage a child, manage work, manage everything, and lose. Because I don't know if you know this, but eating healthy, eating vegan, eating vegetarian, even it's expensive. Vegetables are expensive, and they freaking go bad. And not every meal is a win. We had a meal last night that paper sounded okay. I mean, it didn't sound like it'd be one of the best things ever, but it's all right. We had it, and it was all right. I can't say I ever particularly want it again, but I'd eat it if it's put in front of me. Well, we've got a lot left. My wife doesn't like it. She'll eat it, but she don't want it. So it's one of those things. We're gonna freeze it and just kind of keep it from random meals here and there, just to try and alleviate future issues. But it's nothing either of us really particularly care for. So she's gonna make something different tonight, which I'm glad about that because she's actually making something. One of the meals I actually really, 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 really like. But yeah, it can be a challenge, rough. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna bring in a bit more light because on a previous page, I'll open it here. I don't have it open right now. When this character first appears, there's kind of a big old light effect. I didn't initially have that idea when I wrote the script and thought it out, but I did it in the color, and I thought it worked really well. It helped really set it, pop her from the vomit of rainbow on page. And I think doing that scene there, it lingers a bit here in these next panels and dies off. But I mean, you can see there's a bit there. I want to kind of continue that in this panel, which I didn't initially have this idea at all, which is why I have to adjust so much and redo so much of this panel. Not because what I did was bad or wrong, but it doesn't align with the storytelling that has already been established that I established in colors. And that happens. That's the one difference. That's the one primary flaw whenever I do this style and I go in and I make the layers of determining all my light source, that there are times where it's like, oh no, I'm going to do this instead. And I have to go and change and fix and redo. not bad. Just it is what it is. The main issue right now is I need to go back to the drawing board. Her, which this is my Flatch channel. Like, these are my channels. I'm just gonna go ahead and fix that. So you can see it's just you see there's kind of this smoky tendril stuff going on. That's all entwined within this character. Change. Right. Save, because you always want to save your work. See what I'm probably gonna do here. I'm gonna do the same thing I did here, where I'm just gonna go ahead and figure out the lighting on this other layer. Now I'm gonna have it pretty much coming from behind her, so I want the strongest light. That's gonna be the primary. 3, 2. I don't want that on there. What is going on? Why is it trying to do stuff about my history? I don't know what's happening there. Whatever happened, it's not happening now. You see, I left a little bit of a lip there. That's just kind of a drop shadow from they call it the strap on her satchel, purse, hip pouch, whatever you want to call it. Trying to kind of use the line art that's there. See, he drew this. I'm kind of using that as kind of natural ridge in the armor. going to have this smoke be kind of very tied in and integral with the highlight. I kind of want kind of serve as like the source of the light. You know, even it's not really, but it's all tied in kind of one consistent energy or entity or whatever you want to call it. A way that's not a part of or separate from, but it's a part of. It's kind of a little hard to figure out. I can't attest to it being correct, but if it looks okay, I'm kind of just gonna stick with it because you know it's what you do. You know, like, if I'm gonna keep what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and bring these together. I don't want that to have secondary light. I want that to be lit. Get asked, how do you know what colors to do? That's well, I mean, you can figure out skin should look like skin. You know, if you figure out what a costume is going to look like, then you work with that and figure out how light will look on it because a colored light will make it look colored. You know, purple will look more blue in a blue light, or it'll look more red violet in a red light, so on and so forth. So I mean, it's not so much like I mean that's not something that's hard to understand. I think anybody stops and think about it will get it. So it's not like it's a this groundbreaking concept. You know, it's I think anybody can understand it now. Finding that exact color is going to be kind of trial and error. You know, that's going to come from experience. You know, that's one reason why I built this swatch palette over here, which from my understanding there's not a bunch of colors that actually use swatches, and that's okay. I mean, I don't always, but it gives I use it most of the time. But these aren't like the only colors here that are from the Photoshop swatches are these top two rows, like the grays, which gray's gonna print. I'm never worried about, and these browns, which the browns are pretty good. I don't ever use them like in this series they have set up, but I'll use any of those colors as a highlight or a base for another color. And then everything else is just kind of built from just years. And I use those because I have a pretty solid understanding of how they're going to print, because I have built them over the years from all the different books that I've worked on that have been printed, you know, both good and bad print jobs. You know, I have an idea of what's going to work. So that's why I do. I mean, and you can do that without a swatch palette. It just, I find it to be a time saver. And the nature of the beast of comics is all based in time and timeliness. Anything to reduce the amount of time on something, try to implement. If that makes sense. Sounds kind of hoity-toity, but you know, or not really hoity-toity, but you know, I kind of have a saying that seconds equal minutes equal hours equal days. So every few seconds I can save adds up, especially when working on an entire book. I mean, if you break it down, like if I'm going to average, say, 4 hours on a page, you know, say if I average 4 hours to do this page start to finish, coloring wise, that won't even account for the flats, because I actually had somebody else lay flats on this, but 4 hours, you know. Well, there's, and I average that out across the entire issue, there's 24 pages for the issue, and were I not so bone tired, I probably would have times 4. That's 96 hours. If you figure you work 40 hours, I mean, it's going to be more than 2 weeks, and nobody's got 2 weeks to color a book, hardly ever. So I do what I can to cut time. I spend more time on some pages, less time on others. Being that this is my own personal book, my own creator-owned book, and that I don't necessarily have a deadline, I may spend 96 or more hours coloring the whole issue, and that's fine. But looking at it as a freelancer, I may spend 96 hours on it, but it's not going to be averaging out 40 hours a week. It's going to be probably averaging out 96 hours in a week. And that's a hard schedule. I don't particularly want to work that schedule right now. I want to work, but I'm trying to find jobs that can fit with being family. Hi, what is that? Is that chicken? You crazy chicken? It's chickenless chicken? Sweet. That looks horrible. Okay. We're gonna try vegan chicken. What up, Sleepy Weasel? I'm about to try a chickenless chicken patty.
That's not bad.
It's alright. It's not terrible. It's not my favorite thing, but it's not terrible. Mmm. Fake meat. Don't be like beef fajita and cheese dip, man. I'm trying not to die over here, and you're eating what I want. So that was McBain lurking in the background, huh? Well, hi, brother. Pork loin tacos. That sounds good too. Pork loin taco. Y'all are eating what I want to eat.
Right now, affording your medicines shouldn't be stressful. Introducing the Medicine Assistance Tool, or MAT. Brought to you by America's biopharmaceutical companies, MAT gives you information about cost-sharing help,
Come on over.
programs, and medicine costs. In 3 quick steps,
We totally can.
MAT may help you or someone you know.
Or can we not? It's still social
prescription
distancing.
medicines during these uncertain times. Visit MAT.org for more information. Brought to you by America's biopharmaceutical companies. That's MAT.org.
Geico has the insurance industry-leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere, which means that Geico is always there for you. If only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your
Baby
garage
girl
by an
had
angry possum.
fever
Me again.
for the better part of last week.
And I think the possum is
We just
starting to
kind of
get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it,
stayed
would go
in
away,
even
but
more.
now it is ripping holes in
But
the drywall and making some sort of nest.
I think it was all tied to
Just
teething.
call me
I don't
back.
think she was
Geico, always there for you
sick,
with savings and the
but
industry-leading mobile app.
it did lead to a little bit of vomiting, so that was unpleasant. Well, fine. Be like that then. How you guys doing over there in your neck of the woods, Sleepy Weasel? Considering I don't even have cheese on this thing, it's alright. Yeah, we've been swimming a bit here. We got a small pool as part of our condo. We've taken the Munchkin out a few times and got a little mermaid, man. She loves the water. It's funny. And it exhausts her too. We discovered if we can take her swimming in the afternoon after her morning nap, it'll help tire her out enough that she will take her afternoon nap, which she refuses to take anymore. So yeah, we're trying to do some more swimming so we can do that, plus, you know, good exercise. And the child enjoys it, so that's good. It is. Because the funny part was when all this, you know, pandemic stuff started and my wife started working from home with me, you know, the child basically stopped taking. She always took 2 naps, and then all the stuff's like, hey, we're home. She's refused to take 2 naps since, and she still really needs to have 2 naps. She really does, because she gets a little bit unreasonable without the second nap. But yeah, we finally cracked that code, and We got the swimming pool for that. Okay. I think that kind of faced like that. I'm gonna go back to doing this secondary. That'll be the highlight, because like I said, this whole panel was lit wrong after I figured out a different lighting set I was wanting to do for this character and the powers she's exhibiting. You okay, buddy? So, I'm gonna start that. Actually, I could probably bring all this a bit more together. In theory. Let's see, it might not work. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have that be or along this. That'll work. Oh, changed it somehow. I changed it. Oops. But yeah, once I realized how I wanted to approach this character's powers, that meant the initial work I did on this panel was totally wrong. So now I have to redo it. So it's initially, if you want to, since I stepped in a little bit later, you know, that's where it was initially, and I kind of had a dual light source going on in this panel. But oops, I still need that changed. You see that? Apparently made an error somewhere. Okay. Need to fix this. History brush is good for these kind of isolated screw-ups. There, see? Come back to that. But you see on this previous page where I had this kind of light power stuff going on with this character. In this panel, she's using her powers here, and I didn't initially have that concept before I started coloring. Now that I have it, that's why I'm redoing it, and she'll be coming into transforming into the look of that character, kind of a shape change, or well, not really. It's an illusion. Oh, dude. Yeah. You know, there still isn't an autosave on Photoshop, at least on this version, the CS6, which that was probably 5-6 years ago that this one was implemented. So there is no autosave. It does have a recover feature where it does sort of do a autosave, like back in the background, like in the cache of the computer or whatever. So if the whole machine crashes and I reboot and start, it'll open the page up to wherever that cache automatically saved, but it it's not like every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes it will automatically save. I wish it did, so I have to definitely be in. But even still, I might even turn that off, because I have in the past one of the most devastating losses. I had literally been awake all night working on a page of Thor, and it was ridiculously hard, and it was about 4 a.m. Had finished it. I saved the file. I hit Control S to save the file, and it was storming outside. And as the file was saving, power went out. Just for like a couple seconds. It was enough to knock everything out, computer and everything. When I rebooted, and this was an earlier version of Photoshop, it didn't even have that recover option, and when I rebooted and everything, it actually corrupted the entire file because it just completely boned out while it was saving. And I literally had to redo everything I had worked on all night long. And the book was due at like 8 a.m. and I brought this file home from the office and was working on it, from that night on. So I had to use what I brought home from the office earlier that day, like on a jump drive or CD, and restart, because I was saving like I'm supposed to, but the power went out. That's when it led me to buy a battery backup. Like, it's a surge protector, but it's got a built-in battery. Circuit City was going out of business, and they just had these things, which are anywhere from like a $75 and up. They had it for like $15. So I bought 3. I bought one for my office, one for home, and another one just to put on other appliances around my home or office. Yeah, that was the worst. There's been other bad ones, but that's the one that was the absolute worst, because it was done and it wasn't like, oh, I forgot to save. It was like, no, I am saving. That was the worst. So yeah, I have not been without a battery backup since, and actually I had to replace the one here in my home office last year, because I had a few power outages and it was no longer working. And from my understanding, you can actually replace the actual batteries in those things. I wasn't quite sure how, and whatever I was doing at the time, I didn't really have the option to investigate too much, because I just needed to get something done. So I bought a new one, but I still have it, and I want to look into fixing it so it'll work. But yeah, no, it's almost a rite of passage to have work lost. And I've had hard drive die on me, and on a computer, like the entire hard drive on a computer just completely and utterly crapped out. That was not fun either, because not only did I lose whatever I was doing on, you lose everything that's done that you haven't backed up already, like on disk or on a separate hard drive. Yeah, so those instances led to buying external hard drives, battery backups. Oh, yeah. No, not fun. Not fun at all. Go ahead and include this lighting. Go back to sleep, child. The baby's room is right next to my office. Hear her stirring, but she should not be awake yet. But she is.
Hello, this is Chris Ryan. I'm an editor at TheRinger.com.
My name is Chuck Klosterman. I am a writer.
Remind me,
This is
Sleepy, because I
Music
honestly
a
don't
podcast
recall.
where we talk about
Did
how
we
think
start?
about
Did we meet
Yeah, it's
through
not necessarily
SOCOM,
about
or
music
was
that's
it through
happening right now.
Call of
This
Duty?
isn't a podcast about what you need to listen
I
to
can't always
tomorrow.
remember who I
It's
played with on
how do you think
SOCOM
about
and
music
who
when
still
it's not
play
even
with
playing.
online.
available exclusively on Spotify.
It's been so long.
Right now, affording your medicines shouldn't be stressful. Introducing the Medicine Assistance
Was it
Tool, or
SOCOM too?
MAT.
Nice.
Brought to you by America's biopharmaceutical
I thought so.
companies, MAT gives you
I
information
wasn't
about
positive.
cost-sharing help, patient assistance programs,
Those were
and
good old
medicine
days, man.
costs.
That was
In
fun.
3 quick steps, learn how MAT may help you or someone you know access prescription medicines during these uncertain
Back when I used to be
times.
better at video
Visit
games,
MAT.org
shooters.
for more information. Brought to you by America's biopharmaceutical companies. That's MAT.org.
Pretty close. Pretty
Get ready
close.
to get your grill on with Sprouts Farmers Market. Taste the difference of juicy,
Yeah.
flavorful burgers and
I will
steaks
say
with
I've
no added
noticed
hormones
my
ever.
my
Guaranteed to cook up
gaming
buttery and tender
reflexes
every
are
time. We partner
nowhere
with family
near
ranchers to
what
provide
they
only the
used to
best
be.
in USDA choice beef from purebred heritage cattle.
I mean,
Just
it
from
also because I
Sprouts.
don't
forget
play
those
like I
craveable
used to,
summer
but
must-haves. We have the best farm
Yeah.
fresh corn, melons, and stone fruit
It,
you've been waiting for. We even offer pickup and delivery.
it
so you can
shows.
chill before you grill. Sprouts Farmers Market. It's healthy living for less.
it is, man. Honestly, the worst part is just pain. Like, why am I hurting? I haven't done anything. I woke up and I feel pain. That's the worst part about getting old. Nobody ever told me about. See, it's not. See, I'm supposed to. Yeah, I know she's awake. See, this moments like this are actually challenging because I'm wanting to operate and select in accordance to the anatomy, obviously, because you want to follow the thigh muscle into the knee, and that looks a certain way. But then also when you have a boot on top of it, especially a boot with a hunk of extra crap going over the knee, it kind of makes it different. It's a little harder to figure out. Hi, are you cranky or are you happy? Okay. Good. This might be one of those instances where I reach out to a buddy of mine and be like, bro, like, this is wrong. I know it's wrong, but I'll make it right. I do have a couple of friends of mine who are far superior at this style than I am when it comes to the actual selection. I can fake it pretty good though, so fake it till you make it, right? Yeah, okay. I think that lighting works more or less. That's just the lighting. We still have to actually color it. Again, this is actually where I'll probably pull in more from this page because it'd be more replicating. So it'll be green, but I'm gonna go quite a bit more intense on this. Goes like this mid-tier green, like you see here, and it's quite a bit more yellow and bright. That's where I'm gonna aim towards and skew my what colors towards on it's even, I'm not even gonna hide the glow on that. I think that's still, I'm just gonna go ahead and one thing about this stuff is, like I said, when you fake it till you make it, that's totally true, because you can, if you aren't sure with some stuff, you can actually hide it, you know, and doing some effects, some flashy effects can help hide shortcomings, you know. So I mean, I can, and I'm very tempted to keep plugging away at this to get it just right. But at the end of the day, you, Sleepy, and anybody else who looks at, you're not going to pay that close attention to it. Now, there may be other colors, some other artists that will. So I want it to be, close enough where it's like, yeah, I can get away with that. But I don't need to spend, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, this it's small, it's tiny, and you have to keep that in mind. If I don't, I will never get anything out. Yeah, you will now, because you're here watching this. Buddy, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Ugh. But because I'm going to also have the light behind her more, I'm going to tone down her skin tone a touch darker. It helps with the secondary, helps with the highlights, the pop. I mean, and that's the way it works. Whenever you have a light behind something, what's in front of it looks a bit darker. You know, even though it's still the exact same color, just optically it does change for the viewer. See, I don't want to. These smoke tendril things aren't going to be gray. I need them to be a color. They'll probably be going in a line, kind of similar, you know, keeping in line with the rest of this lighting from the earlier pages. Not only just that, you know, I do actually end up on this series of pages, starting from page 5 through page 9. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I refuse to change it, but there is a consistency error. And if you ever get issue 4, or when you get issue 4, you can go find it, and you can tell me what you think it is, and if you're right, you can get a no prize or something. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm dropping a lot of frames. Alright, buddy. Well, good luck. Have a good one. If you want to pop on later tonight, I'll be on at 8 again. 8 p.m. tonight. But if not, that's okay too. Take care. I am dropping frames. Why am I dropping so... Frame drops. Oh, I'm dropping a ton of frames, like, continually. Seems like it's back up. Whatever happened seems to be back up. Laters.
There is nothing that they can do to protect a king and his rule. Caught in the fire, watch it burn. Ash to ash, now it's our turn. Take their kingdom down and smash it to pieces. Turn their feet around, they will leave defeated. They will crumble at the sight of our legion. If you want the crown, then you've got to break them down.
Give yourself a delicious taste of happy with a Starbucks Caramel Ribbon Crunch Frappuccino blended beverage. A swirl of ice-cold goodness made for sweet, slow sipping. Your day deserves a treat. Download the Starbucks app to order ahead.
The Home Depot has news that will come as great comfort to your bathroom. Right now, you'll find fresh bed linens, pillows, and cozy comforters. See it all online. Order in minutes. You can even get free delivery right to your door, which is also a pretty nice feeling. Save on select bedding and bath. Get easy online returns. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. U.S. only valid through June 17th. Limitations apply.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now great call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that fine. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Let's see. These little borders. Dropping frames again. Not sure what's going on. You go ahead and make these a color. Trying to make all this smoke look a little more ethereal and misty, not so much like everything else. What'll help? That's what'll help create the magic idea and look and feel of it. Making it not black and then implementing glows and such on top. I don't really need those right now, so I'm just going to go on full screen here so it's a little, you can see a little bit better. You know, it took over a decade for me to learn that I could tile the stuff like this. You know, the windows, I used to have multiple other sub windows just kind of floating around that I could instantly access and look at, and I mean, you still can, it works, but having just kind of offset and stay there is actually a really convenient feature, especially something when I need to refer back to a previous page or piece of reference. for new or unfamiliar things or whatnot. It's really nice. I don't know when that implemented in Photoshop, but it took me a long time to realize it was there. And that came from necessity more than anything. Because my Cintiq is a pretty big monitor, so I'm having the floating windows is fine. It's not really a distraction, but there was a stretch of time where I was having to work either on my laptop or my second monitor that the webcam's all put on, which is considerably smaller. So having a lot of floating stuff ate up a lot of real estate and just really got in the way. And I mean, I would have suffered through it, and it's kind of, I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I did, and since, kind of no matter what, it's just super convenient and handy, and you can do however many, you can do 3 or 4 or whatever. I still tick to just the 2, and I may have other tabs, so I mean there'll be multiple files in there, but if I need it, yeah. Pretty nice, pretty useful. Okay, I'm going to actually usually I select first, but I figure giving an option to see a little more in advance. So this is just a file I have, kind of like a glowing orb type thing. It's on a layer, it's isolated. It's what I used on the previous page, so I'm going to use that here. I'm selecting it. So usually I go ahead and just select all this, but I figured may as well let you see it a little bit better. So I'm going to paste right here. Just kind of get an idea of the scale I need. Right. Now obviously I don't want it to be all everywhere outside my working area. And that doesn't serve the purpose I need it to. So typically what I do is I'll make selections and use the tool called paste into. So what it'll do is it'll take whatever I have copied and paste into that area only. I usually do that first, but I kind of just wanted to show what that actually is. So you see it goes everywhere, but when you paste into it, it creates a mask. You see, it's already, like, I've selected these areas, I've created the mask of it. But obviously it's still on her. I want it to be behind, not so much literally on top of. So what I can do, using my flats, I can use that as my starting point. What I don't know and it's going to have to be kind of a trial and error. I don't know if I need to go ahead and separate out the smoke, because I want that all to be glowy, you know, so I may not actually have to separate it. But, you know, I've selected here specifically on the mask, and I'm extending that mask. See, so now that fireball is actually behind her, and I can move it wherever, but it's going to stay. You see this layer here? You see the white and the black? Wherever it's white, that's the only spot that's going to show it, so I can move it anywhere in this panel. But it's still just going to stay right there. But as I've talked about before, you see it's going over actual lines on her. I don't really want that. It looks a little sloppy, and I am going to go over those lines, but I'm going to use a brush, and it's not going to be a hard selection, so it won't look so harsh, so manufactured. That's the right word. Again, just extending that mask. You see, I can clean it up a little bit more. I don't really want to have all the area outside the selection, you know, other line. Hello? 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 I'm fine, how are you? Uh, 9:45, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Bye. Sorry about that. I have a dentist appointment in the morning, and they were confirming the appointment and all the COVID stuff. They're just double checking that they went over their new stuff already, new regulations in process. Bit of a headache, but it is what it is. I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm going to finish off these selections for the mask. Masking out this selection so I can do the glows. Just go back over here. Here are the lines I've selected I want. Boom. See, we're just expanding that selection so it doesn't look so sloppy. Almost got him. I do find when I am working here on Twitch, I do things slightly differently than I normally do them. Either to, I don't know, I think hopefully it makes it a little more watchable. Just trust me. I've watched people coloring. Not terribly exciting. I understand this. It's just a lot of minutia that eventually leads to grand changes. But most of the time when I do
So my question is,
these kind of
nail polish.
selections and glows and effects, I say that towards the very end.
From Every Little Thing, the
And I
podcast that
find
answers
myself
your
not doing
burning
that when I'm
questions.
streaming,
Like, who names
because I
nail
think
polish?
it gives you a little more visually appealing
and the nurse is drilling me on what my
images. You can see how it shapes up to the end
Find
more
out more on Every Little Thing.
as I go.
Tap now to listen on Spotify.
I don't typically do that. It's mainly to keep the amount of layers I use down. You know, not because it's
cockroaches.
Really, I mean, that's really the main reason, just so I can
Cockroaches
of all ages.
keep it
Just
all
spin the wheel,
together
strike your pose, and get ready for a
as confined and simple as possible.
Don't let roaches ruin the moment. Orkin, home is where the bugs aren't. Visit Orkin.com to learn more.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates
I'm
are
going to
near
check in on
historic
the
lows,
Kickstarter
so
right
now
quick.
is a great time to call 833-8-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information.
Sitting pretty.
Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
You see, those lines I just masked out to keep from the light orb that I pasted in here from having too big effect. Like I'm going back and then painting over with the brush. It looks better. There's not that sharp edge from the selection, you know. I'm going to once again bring in my super cool, what I like to call God rays. There we go. This is from the orb. This doesn't really have that big effect, but that's alright. So let's pulling that together. I just wanted to see that for myself as much as making it interesting for you guys, because I know it works now. But it's carrying that into this panel here. You know, so doing it as a more, how I would more normally do it, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring in that orb on this one, that light, that paste in I showed you, because this is one of those instances where if I have it there and I see where it's hitting, it could actually save me work. You know, if it's covering something up predominantly, it may be, it's probably something I may not have to particularly focus on coloring because it's lost in the awesome aura of the effect. So yeah, it's tempting to pick my battle, try and utilize time a little bit better, because my goal here is to finish this page up here in the stream, and then when I'm back on tonight for the regularly scheduled 8 p.m., you know, I can be working on a new piece, a new page, or what have you. I did not make as much progress on this book last week as I would like. I had a lot of other stuff just come up, life issues, and one other kind of freelance page I was filling in on. So I want to make a bit more progress this week. Oh my goodness, my phone is vibrating from messages. Oh, I do remember though, I do need to make a phone call here. And then we need to pick on somebody. Oh, I'm gonna try and hurry up and finish this so I can do some of these things I just remembered I need to do. But yeah, masking, making these selections. I know it's not exactly riveting. Riveting entertainment when it comes to coloring, but as you saw with this last panel, I mean, this is where a lot of really cool stuff happens and comes all together. So it's certainly a necessary step. So I mean, while it may not be the most interesting element to watch, I think the end results speak for themselves. You see, I already opted in this panel. Like I've got the background. Like I've done the more muted secondary tone on the background because I really just want her to stand out. You know. So I mean, it technically isn't realistic, but it's dramatic, and that the drama is going to. Should win out more than the realism. detail that here of making that selection. Okay, right. I think that's about it. Make that a channel. I'm gonna morph it. I don't need it to be perfectly round. It can be long to better fit the character. This is one of those instances where I did take liberty with the story, because, you know, the space siren is morphing visually into the character Sova Yeti, and where we are in the story, neither Sasquanaut nor the space siren have ever actually met Sova Yeti. You know, so it's, the concept is that they're pulling thoughts, ideas, and images out of Sasquanaut's mind. So this is kind of an idealization that's supposed to exist within his mind's eye. You know, whether or not, you know, that's the intent. I don't know. You know, the reader will have to determine whether or not I actually sell that idea whenever they do experience it, but that's kind of the thought process here. Should be radial now. I use a lot of the radial gradient. Dropping frames again. I don't know why I'm doing that. I've only ever had that once before happen, and now it's a whole bunch today. I don't know. I don't have anything downloading, or the streaming downstairs usually hasn't affected past, but I don't know. Didn't it literally just play this song? Moving on. Still need to go in and do color holds within the first two panels and spatial atmospheric effects, but what time is it? 1 o'clock. They podcast, YouTube, whatever, interview scheduled last week that got postponed, and rightly so. I was completely 100% fine with that, but we're trying to reschedule it, and I do need to touch base and get that taken care of.
Another dog lost to the wild. I feel like a snot-nosed child, and when I hear your smile, it's outlined in sadness. You poked holes in the magic. You taught jokes to the clowns that never learned how to appreciate the lights before the bulbs burned out. Flicker.
What's that? Yeah. I'm just pulling in from the world that I've already established. It's just kind of recreating and continuing the already done work. You know, like these bulby stalk things are all staffers are kind of go from blue at the bulb into like this purple and pink at the bottom, purple and pink and red. So what I've been doing is I'm just gonna go ahead and I can go ahead and render these and put a little more emphasis on these outer ones. That's more or less affected by the central lighting effect. You know, this is covered anyway. It's less important. I don't need to put that much into it. I mean, the central figure is the issue. That is where I want the reader to focus any and all attention. Oops. Yeah. This, I'm not gonna worry about putting my rainbow in there because it's such a little out of the way nothing bit, and it's just kind of you're gonna see it just because you're here and you saw, and I'm telling you that I'm not gonna do it there just because I'm being lazy. But you know, the average reader that spends 10-20 seconds on a page will never notice. So I mean, that's the reality of it. There's, you know, most readers won't spend more than a few seconds on a page, and they may go back and relook at the art and all, but by and large they don't. So yes, I want to do a great job. That is paramount to me, because this is mine, my story. I want it to be as best as it can be. But I always have to keep that in mind and perspective, that
has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage,
the amount of time and effort being put into certain aspects of the art.
Great time to call 8338-ROCKET.
Is it something that has
money, a cash out refinance
an actual return on investment?
You're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License.
There are plenty of things that you do just for yourself, and that's 100% A-okay. I will indulge myself numerous times. What is going on? Why is my phone going bananas? Like, it's just sitting here. Stop! My word. Don't be part of group messages. It's ridiculous. It can be very, very helpful. It's super distracting at times. My phone is just blowing up.
Yeah, I've been drinking, you already know. Do I smell like escape? Probably so. I found your tape in my old collection, put it in, pushed play, then I poured a fresh one. I look back with a hesitant laugh, but in reality it's dark down memory ave. All the trials and suffering we shared with each other. A lot of people thought that we were actually brothers. You know me, you know I'm a control freak. Who told you you could die before me? Gone, another dog lost to the wild. I feel like a snot-nosed child, and when I hear your smile, it's outlined.
I think that's probably just actually a tentacle, not a sky, because if it was stopping tentacle and it was more the underside of this mushroom shape, it would it would have something there. You know, these cool lines that help delineate the mushroom head. Okay. I'm going to come in here. We're going to make these elements push further back, de-emphasize them, get them into the background.
I realize it ain't realistic. I keep trying to make the pieces fit with the info presented. I felt resentment. I held this against myself. I want to help my friend. It stays in my head that I was on a stage when you were laying in bed. Body was discovered by your own mother. It penetrates my chest. I still taste the regret that I slept through a late
But
night
more than
call
that,
from your homie. But then I
again,
spoke with Sadiq the next morning, and then I smoked 1 million.
you want the background to give the characters ground setting, like put them in an environment so it helps, it psychologically helps the reader become vested. It makes the world real, you know. But at the end of the day, the characters are what is absolutely important. So I have these elements here, but I do want to de-emphasize them.
Yeah, I've been thinking, you already know. Do I look exhausted? Probably so. I don't get much sleep. I'm not sick, I'm fine. I'm just trying to make the most of this
I'm going to
limited time.
again
And I'm
make this
missing you.
set of
But I ain't gonna
selections,
lie. The distance grew
not
between
including
I and at the end, even though we didn't
Sasquatch's
speak
lines at all.
enough, you were easily one of the best people I've loved. And now I'm trying to write a song for a dead songwriter that wrote their own songs about life and death. And every breath is full of self-awareness. Don't ever be afraid to be embarrassed. So I wrote these words to
Right.
describe what I
I'm
cry
going to
about.
just save that selection too, just so I don't have to do it ever again. I'm going to use this, what I call the dust cloud brush. If I recall right, that's actually a brush a buddy of mine did. He was interviewed in a magazine, and I got the magazine because, you know, support my buddy. I wanted to read what he had to say. He's in the video game industry, and it was an art magazine, Artist Effects, I think. And he had a piece, and they were talking about it, and he provided like one brush, and he had this cool smoke brush. That's where actually that one is. That's not one I made. So that's how I got that. I mean, there's a chance if you bought Artist Effects and magazine, you may have gotten that brush too once upon a time many years ago. Do you hear that? Do you hear her? She's coming to get me.
Yeah, she's been wanting you.
She's coming to get me. Hold on, baby. I'm so close to finishing this page. I know. I know. Hold on. Almost done. Yeah, yeah. Of course, if you start drawing with that mouse, you're gonna mess me up. So please, please, please wait. Oh, hey, 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 hey. Hey. That's not helping. Hey, hey. Okay, I might just call this close enough to done. Little munchkin here needs some attention. I didn't make a couple phone calls, so I will. I guess I'll check in tonight at 8 p.m. if you want to come in and check out another page, probably from the beginning. It'll probably be a different page. And I guess that's about it. Check you cats later.